I'm a huge fan of the hit TV show called Breaking Bad. It's a really good show about a high school chemistry teacher named Walter White, and a bunch of goofy stuff happens. But yesterday, I kind of discovered a weird episode of Breaking Bad, and I don't think no one should see this. It was a night out, so I was bored out of my mind, but I realized, what if there's a scrapped episode of Breaking Bad? So I dashed to my Xbox, went on the web, and I looked up some Breaking Bad scrapped episodes, and to my surprise, I found one. I then opened I then opened up the video, and there was a huge play button on the screen. I clicked it and the video started. There was a blank screen and some white text popped up on the screen said, "Warning. This is a scrapped episode of Breaking Bad that cannot be shown to the public. Whoever finds this, report it now." And some more text showed up on the screen. If you are still reading this, make sure to get off now. Do it now! While some weird funky music is playing in the background. Then the text was gone, but I could see it was a black screen for a few seconds. The episode started. It showed Walter and Jesse in the RV, but they were not making crystal. They were just talking in the RV. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead shows up and opens the RV door. And I was like, "What the hell is he doing here?" And Rick went up to Jesse's face and said, "Carl, where is my sweet boy Carl?" Jesse had a calm look in his face and said, "He's in Detroit." And Rick had that same look in his face when Walter saw Hank die. And Rick even did the same exact movement. I was so confused about what was going on, so I kept watching. And for some reason, Chuck McGill shows up in the RV out of nowhere and says, Carl was in Detroit? What a sick joke!" And then left the RV. Jesse and Walter had a confused look on their face. It then suddenly cut to black, and I could hear the RV driving off. I could hear Walter and Jesse singing. For some odd reason, they were oddly singing fast, and their voices were really squeaky. And Jesse screaming, "Yeah, this is the bomb!" So damn loud that it scared me. And Walter had dark black eyes, and so did Jesse. They continued singing, and it cut to black. Jesse was at his house, and he was with Skinny Pete, but for some reason, he was fat, like really fat. And Badger was skinny like a twig. And Jesse said, "Hey man, you heard my new mixtape?" Skinny Pete said, "No, I never heard of it." And Badger said, "What are you talking about?" Jesse started to cry, and he sounded so annoying. And Jesse said, "Why are you so mean?" His talking was interrupted by someone at the door. And Jesse and Skinny Pete and Badger were walking so slow, even it felt like a 2000 music video. And they were trying so hard to act cool. Jesse walked by the door, and when he opened it, he said hello in a soft voice. And to my surprise, it was Drake. At this point, I wasn't even confused anymore because I thought it was just some weird parody film. And Drake started rapping in Jesse's face, and Jesse still had that calm look on his face. And Badger said, "Close the door." Jesse and weirdly, Badger's voice was so damn deep. And after Jesse closed the door, I heard a weird creature noise outside, and Skinny Pete said, "What was that?" And Jesse said, "I don't want to know, but it sounds creepy." And Skinny Pete, Badger, and Jesse were looking at each other. And when they opened up the door, what they saw was so creepy. It was Saul Goodman. And for some reason, he had a creepy smile on his face. And he said, "Better call Saul," very creepily. And Saul said, "You better, or I will tickle you." And he ran away like a cartoon character. And now Jesse's calm face now turned into a sadness. He said sadly, "Bros, we have to call Saul. He's begging us to do it." And like that, the cliche bad word Badger said, Guys, I have a bad feeling about this." And Skinny Pete said, "Shut it, Badger." I paused there because at this point I had a headache processing what's going on, and I took a short break. After my short break, I was eating chips and watching YouTube. And I forgot I had to finish that Breaking Bad film. And I ran back to my Xbox to start it up. And for some reason, it showed a different scene. I was confused because I swear I paused on the part where Skinny Pete and Badger and Jesse were standing near the door. This part looked weird. I looked at the picture, and it shows Walter standing in a black room. I was kind of freaked out, but I shook it off and pressed unpause. After on a pause, Walter said in an evil voice, Why would you pause the video? After he said that, I was so creeped out. Walter said, you will regret that soon. And then cut back to the scene where I left off. Jesse was running towards his car, and Jesse looked behind him. He saw Skinny Pete running so slow, and Jesse said, damn it, Skinny Pete, run faster! Skinny Pete said, I'm trying, but it's kind of hard to. And Badger rolled his eyes. And I noticed something as I kept watching. When Skinny Pete kept running to the car, it kept repeating itself. Because when Skinny Pete gets close to the car, it cuts back to him far away from the car. After what seemed like forever, Skinny Pete finally got to the car. And Badger said, damn, you took long. And the trio said nothing else and they drove off. And then cuts to Walter, but for some reason Walter was speaking Japanese. And Skylar, but there was something off about Skylar. She had a beard and an eye patch, and she looked way older. And as Walter kept talking to Skylar, he noticed a knock on the door. Walter said, who is that? I'm only allowed to knock. As Walter ran like a robot to the door, he opened it, and what he saw, oh no, it was that creature, Saul Goodman. Saul said, nice place you got here. Mind if I borrow it? As he said creepily. Walt said, no, Saul, you're cringe. And when I saw scared me, Saul had a mad look on his face and said, give me it or I'll tickle you. Walt said, no, I will never. And then Saul transformed to Eminem. And Walt said shockingly, Slim Shady. And then Eminem started to diss Walter so bad that Walter turned to goo. And it cut to black. And I could hear Gus talking. And the screen is back now. And it shows Gus. He looks so old. Like he looks like he's 90 years old. And he said Hector, you want Mexican? And Hector had a shocked expression on his face. And he looked mad. Gus ran away. For some odd reason, Hector got up from his wheelchair. I was so bound for questions that my head hurts. After Hector got up from his wheelchair, he started to run towards Gus, and he said, Gustavo Fring, you are a huge jerk. And after some reason, he started flying up, and his eyes were plain white. Hector looked at Gus, and Gus looked scared, and he said, oh no. And Hector destroyed Gus, and what was left of Gus was his bow tie. After that nonsense, I had a sudden urge to take a break again, but I decided not to because of Walt's warning. I continued watching, and what happened after was Jesse, Badger, Skinny Pete at McDonald's. And for some odd reason, they were chatting. They were approached by that man, Saul Goodman. And he said, I'm going to have a special dance in my house. Want to join? The trio were looking at each other. And Badger looked afraid. And he said, sure, we will, Saul. And Saul had the most evil smile on his face. And he said, great choice. And then cut to 12 hours later card. And it shows Saul walking up. And I noticed that the area he was in a black room. And Saul stopped walking. And as he stopped walking, he stomped his foot to the ground. And he said, better call Saul. And he stomped his foot to the ground with passion. Saul continued to stomp his foot to the ground. And I noticed that Jesse started walking up too. And he had that same mad look on his face that Saul had. And he stopped walking too. And Jesse started chanting, better call Saul. With the same aggression chant that Saul had. And he stomped his foot to the ground. And after the two did this for a while, a whole lot of people from the Breaking Bad cast came in. And they were too chanting, better call Saul. All of them were chanting it. And they all stomped their foot to the ground. And all of them kept chanting, better call Saul. Better call Saul. Better call Saul. Better call. Oh my bad, I got caught off guard. But the rest of the cast kept stomping their foot to the ground with immense focusing. I noticed that Saul's face is now smiling, enjoying the chant he's getting like a douchebag. And I noticed that Jesse snuck up with a huge crowd. And for about a few minutes, Jesse came out of nowhere with a monster truck and started singing the Better Call Saul theme. But he was so damn loud that my TV volume wouldn't go down. I noticed that Saul's face looked mad a little because of Jesse singing. And I was covering my ears because it was so damn loud. And my Xbox crashed and it turned off. I was lost for words. I want to know what the hell I just watched. After a few minutes of just sitting on my chair, I decided to go back on the website. And to my surprise, it was still there, but the video wouldn't work though. But I noticed the comment section. I saw the reply saying, "Well, that was strange. What was that?" Just seeing in the comments, I decided to clear off the website.